Have you ever felt too weak, too ordinary, or not talented enough to succeed? Have you ever looked at the mountains others seemed to climb with ease and felt anchored to the valley floor? What if I told you that you don't need superhuman strength or extraordinary gifts? What if I told you you already carry the secret to achieving anything you dream of? Let me share with you a simple Zen story that reveals this profound truth. Once, in a quiet village cradled by the great mountain, there lived a young boy named Ren. He was kind, and his eyes were filled with a deep curiosity. But inside, his heart was heavy with a silent burden. Every morning, the village would come alive. Ren would sit by his window and watch. He saw Kenji, the fastest boy, running like the wind, his laughter trailing behind him. He saw Hana, nimble and brave, scaling the tall cherry blossom trees to get the best fruit, her silhouette a confident dance against the sky. He listened to the village elders praise others for their quick minds or strong backs, and with each observation, the weight in Ren's chest grew heavier. He would look at his own thin arms and feel a familiar sting of disappointment. He thought to himself, "Their spirits burn so brightly, like great bonfires. Mine is just a flickering candle, ready to be extinguished by the slightest breeze. I am too weak. I will never achieve anything great." One afternoon, after failing to lift a basket of radishes that Kenji had carried with ease, the feeling of doubt became unbearable. Ren walked away from the village, his head hung low, and followed the winding path to the small temple that rested by the river. There, an old Zen master, Kaito, was creating a ripple in a sea of sand. His movements were slow, deliberate, and full of peace. Ren watched for a moment, then gathered his courage. He bowed deeply, and his voice was barely a whisper, carried away by the gentle gurgle of the river.
Master, I have a question that clouds my mind. Narrator, the master post his Requiem. His is never leaving the patterning seasoned. Yet Ren felt his complete attention.
Speak, child. A question held within is a stone in the heart.
Why am I not gifted like the others? Kenji is strong and swift. Hana is fearless. My efforts feel like dust. Why do I fail so easily when they succeed?
Master Kaito finally turned, his eyes holding a gentle, knowing smile. He set aside his broom, his movements unhurried, and pointed a frail finger toward the massive peak that loomed over their village.
Do you see that peak, Ren? It touches the clouds. From here it looks impossible to reach, a giant standing in defiance of man. But the mountain is climbed not in one impossible leap. It is conquered only step by step.
The master then led Ren to a corner of the temple garden where a tall bamboo pipe fed by a mountain spring dripped water. He took a small, empty clay pot and placed it directly under the spout. A single clear drop of water fell, making a tiny plink sound in the vast silence. A few seconds passed, then another plink, and another plink.
Watch closely. One drop means nothing. It is insignificant. 100 drops will barely wet the bottom of the pot. But day after day, drop after drop, each one patient, each one focused, this pot will be filled. It will overflow. That is the secret of all great achievement, Ren. It is not about the size of a single action, but the unwavering power of 3 things: patience, focus, and consistency.
Ren stared at the pot, mesmerized by the simple, relentless rhythm of the falling drops. For the first time, he wasn't comparing himself to anyone. He was just listening. The stone in his heart began to feel lighter. He realized the master was right. He did not need to be the strongest overnight. He did not need to be the fastest in a day. He only needed to take one small step, and then another, every single day. He returned to the village with a new feeling, blossoming in his chest. Not confidence, but a quiet resolve. The very next morning, before the sun had even risen, Ren took 2 empty buckets and went to the river. He decided this would be his practice. He would carry water for the village elders. At first, it was agonizing. His arms ached with a fire he'd never known. His legs trembled under the weight, and he had to stop every few feet, gasping for breath. More than once, he thought, "This is useless. I am still weak." But then he would remember the sound of the water drop, plink. So he would pick up the buckets and take one more step, drop by drop, day by day, step by step. His quiet work continued. He didn't announce it. He simply did it. The sun would rise and find him on the path. The sun would set, and he would be making his final trip. Slowly, imperceptibly, a change began. The sharp ache in his muscles softened into a dull, satisfying hum. The buckets felt a little less heavy. He could see the strength taking root in his arms, the steadiness growing in his legs. Soon, the boy who once doubted himself stood, tall, filled not with sudden talent, but with a deep, quiet power he had earned himself. One evening, months later, Ren stood with 2 full buckets, the water barely sloshing over the rims. He looked up at the great mountain. He no longer saw an impossible, terrifying wall. He saw a path. He saw the first step, and the one after that, and the one after that. He saw a journey waiting for his footsteps. Here lies the lesson. You don't need extraordinary talent or God-given gifts to achieve great things, like the drops of water filling the pot. Your daily efforts, however small, however unnoticed, are what shape your destiny. Each small action is a drop. Each day is a promise. With patience to honor the journey, focus to guide your next step, and consistency to never give up. You can fill any vessel. You can climb any mountain. You can achieve anything. If this story inspired you, please give it a like, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe for more Zen stories that lift your spirit. And tell me in the comments, what small step, what single drop will you take today toward your dream?